Imagine an entire city hidden beneath thousands of feet of Arctic ice. A city with sleeping quarters, laboratories, a hospital, workshops, and even its own nuclear power plant. Now imagine that this city wasn't built to house scientists. It was built as the first step in one of the most ambitious military projects in history. A secret plan to hide hundreds of nuclear missiles beneath the frozen wilderness of Greenland. During the height of the Cold War, the United States launched a project so bold, so expensive, and so dangerous that very few people knew it existed. The project was called Project Iceworm. Its goal, to create a vast underground network stretching thousands of miles beneath Greenland's ice sheet, capable of launching nuclear missiles at the Soviet Union within minutes. But nature had other plans. This is the incredible story of the secret nuclear city hidden beneath the ice, and why it was eventually buried forever. The year was 1957. The Cold War was reaching dangerous new heights. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a race unlike anything the world had ever seen. Both nations possessed nuclear weapons capable of destroying entire cities. The fear was simple: whoever could strike first might win, and whoever couldn't respond quickly enough could lose everything. In 1957, the Soviet Union shocked the world by launching Sputnik, the first artificial satellite. To many Americans, Sputnik represented more than scientific achievement. It represented a warning. If the Soviets could launch satellites into space, they could potentially launch nuclear warheads across continents. Military planners began searching for ways to ensure America's nuclear missiles could survive a surprise attack. Traditional missile silos were vulnerable. Bombers could be destroyed on the ground. The military needed a new solution. Something hidden, something mobile, something impossible to find. Their attention soon turned toward one of the most isolated places on Earth. Greenland. The island was remote, frozen, hostile, and almost completely covered by ice. But military strategists saw something different. Greenland sat between North America and the Soviet Union. Missiles launched from Greenland could reach key Soviet targets much faster than missiles launched from the continental United States. The vast ice sheet offered another advantage: secrecy. What if missile launch sites could be hidden beneath the ice itself? Protected from enemy observation, protected from attack, protected from nuclear blasts. The idea sounded almost impossible. But during the Cold War, impossible ideas often received serious consideration. In 1959, construction began on an experimental base designed to test the concept. The base was known as Camp Century. Officially, it was a scientific research station. Unofficially, it was the proving ground for Project Iceworm. Building a city beneath a glacier was a monumental challenge. Engineers developed giant snow-cutting machines capable of carving trenches into the ice. These trenches were then covered with steel arches and buried beneath snow. Over time, an extensive tunnel network emerged. The base eventually contained more than 20 tunnels stretching several kilometers. Inside were living quarters, dining halls, laboratories, workshops, storage facilities, a chapel, even recreational areas. At its peak, Camp Century housed around 200 personnel. For many residents, life underground felt surreal. Outside temperatures often plunged below -50 degrees Celsius. Blizzards could last for days. Yet beneath the ice, people lived, worked, and socialized in relative comfort. But the most remarkable feature of Camp Century was its power source. A portable nuclear reactor. Known as PM-2A, it became the world's first mobile nuclear reactor used to power an Arctic military installation. The reactor supplied electricity, heating, and water to the underground city. It was an engineering achievement unlike anything the world had seen before. But Camp Century was only the beginning. The true purpose of Camp Century remained classified for years. Behind the scientific research was a much larger vision. Project Iceworm. Military planners envisioned a massive network of tunnels stretching more than 4,000 kilometers beneath Greenland's ice sheet. Within these tunnels would be mobile nuclear missiles. Hundreds of them. Some estimates suggested up to 600 missiles could be deployed. The missiles would constantly move throughout the network. This mobility would make them extremely difficult to locate and destroy. Even if the Soviet Union launched a surprise attack, enough missiles would survive to retaliate. The project promised a powerful strategic advantage. At least on paper. Engineers created designs. Military officials conducted studies. Funding was discussed. The dream of an underground nuclear missile kingdom beneath the Arctic seemed closer than ever. But there was one problem. A problem no amount of engineering could solve. The ice itself. The Greenland ice sheet appeared solid and stable. But appearances can be deceiving. Ice is constantly moving, slowly, relentlessly, like a frozen river. As months passed, engineers noticed troubling signs. Tunnel walls began shifting, ceilings sagged, structures warped under pressure, snow accumulated faster than expected. Maintenance crews worked constantly to keep tunnels operational. Sections had to be reinforced repeatedly. Despite their efforts, the glacier continued crushing the base. The deeper engineers studied the problem, the worse it became. If Camp Century struggled to survive, how could a network thousands of kilometers long ever remain functional? The answer was simple: it couldn't. Nature was defeating one of the most ambitious military engineering projects ever attempted. And there was nothing anyone could do about it. By the mid-1960s, confidence in Project Iceworm was fading. The engineering challenges were overwhelming. Costs were rising. Missile technology was evolving rapidly. New submarine-launched ballistic missiles offered many of the same advantages without requiring enormous underground tunnel systems. Military planners reached a difficult conclusion. Project Iceworm was impractical. The dream of hiding hundreds of nuclear missiles beneath Greenland's ice was officially abandoned. Camp Century remained operational for a short time longer, but its fate was sealed. In 1967, the nuclear reactor was removed. Personnel departed. The underground city was abandoned. Slowly, snow and ice reclaimed everything. The glacier began erasing nearly all evidence that humans had ever been there. Today, Camp Century still exists. Sort of. The tunnels have long since collapsed. The buildings are crushed and buried. The entire base lies entombed beneath layers of ice and snow. In some places, scientists estimate the remains are buried beneath dozens of meters of ice. For decades, many people assumed the base would remain frozen forever. But climate change has introduced a new concern. Researchers worry that melting ice could eventually expose remnants of the installation, including construction materials and waste left behind during the Cold War. What was once considered permanently buried may not remain hidden forever. The secret city beneath Greenland still has stories left to tell. Project Iceworm remains one of history's most fascinating military experiments. It combined Cold War paranoia, nuclear strategy, Arctic exploration, and groundbreaking engineering. For a brief moment, the United States believed it could build an underground missile empire beneath a glacier, an invisible fortress hidden from the world. But despite billions of dollars, brilliant engineers, and advanced technology, one force proved impossible to defeat. Nature. The Greenland ice sheet quietly crushed the dream, and buried one of the Cold War's greatest secrets beneath the snow. Yet even today, deep under the Arctic ice, the remains of Camp Century continue to rest. A frozen reminder of an era when nations were willing to attempt the impossible, and when the fate of the world often depended on secrets hidden in the most unexpected places. If you enjoyed this story of hidden history and secret inventions, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And let us know in the comments, would Project Iceworm have changed the Cold War if it had succeeded? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next Untold Secret.